Good morning and welcome back to Jack's Tech Corner. This is Photoshop Elements Weekly, episode number 15. In this episode, we're going to talk about creating light effects and how does lighting affect a picture, and we're going to look at that. Also, we're going to look at a phenomenon that I've been kind of interested in lately and I've been playing around with. It's called light painting. And what is that? I think you're truly going to enjoy this. To learn how to do some light painting. Any of us can do it. It's very simple, and I think you're going to pick up on it really quickly, and I'm sure I'll see some great pictures very, very soon. Then we're going to talk about a Wacom pad, and how is this used, and what makes it better than actually using a mouse. And we're going to talk about that. And then we have a few other added bonuses here for you today, and then we have the picture contest. So again, let's go ahead and get started with Photoshop Elements Weekly, episode number 15. Okay, folks, I hope everybody had an enjoyable week. I know Saturdays seem to go too fast for me. Just seems like they just blow right on by, and the next thing you know, it's Sunday morning, which is great here because we're having this show, and we're working out their things together. So it is nice that way, and I really enjoy doing these shows with you folks out there. So this morning, as I said, first thing we're going to look at is creating lighting effects, and this can be done on any picture you have out there. It's very, very easy to do on the picture. And I think there's certain ways to do it, and some people actually go about it just a little bit wrong. The reason I say that is whenever you look at lighting and when it shoots onto your pictures, when it's shooting down onto a picture, it's going to cast, ordinarily if you're shooting directly at a picture with light, you're going to cast a shadow. So you have to create that shadow in your picture, and I want to go ahead and show you how to do that also. And we'll work through this very, very slowly, so you can get an idea of how this works out, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Remember, please hold your Skype calls. You know, you can reach me at Jack's Tech Corner if you're using Skype, or you can reach me at 724-701-0911. So if you want to call in on your cell phone or on your home phone, you're free to do that. But please hold those calls until after each tutorial. Then we'll give you a little break and give you a chance to actually call in here to the show. We'd love to have you call in, and that's what makes the cast more important than anything is your questions and your call-ins. So let's go ahead and bring up my first picture this morning. And here it is. It is mine. If you've seen any of my past videos there on YouTube, you know that I have a photo buddy. His name is the Gnome. So he's great because he never complains about, why am I holding this pose so long? Why am I standing here? Can't you get that camera adjusted right? Can't you just snap the picture? And I don't hear that from Gnome. Gnome just sits there. He can sit there for days, and I just keep taking pictures of him. So he's a great little fella to have around. I'm sure you guys have something in your studio that you can take pictures of, and he's fun to work with. So we're going to work with Gnome here. I just wanted to introduce you to him. That is his name, just as you would say, Gnome. But let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to work on is creating our duplicate layer. So either Command J or Control J, and you get that secondary layer in there. So there's the secondary layer. Next, we're going to work on shutting this background layer off, and we're going to work with this layer. Now, what we need to do first is we need to have the shadow ready to go. So we need the shadow of the gnome. That's very important. And how are we going to do that? It's pretty easy to do, and there's probably a lot of different ways to go about it, but I'm going to show you my way, and we'll see if you like it or not, or if you think it's going to work out for you. So with layer 1 selected and the background layer visibility, I shut that off. We'll go ahead and make our selection of our gnome. And there we go. Here we're making a selection. So we're getting the selection of the gnome here. And I was just actually looking at the CPU usage of the computer here is pretty doggone heavy. I don't see anything that I could shut off that I don't need. And somebody once told me doing a webcast like this, they said that if you have Skype open on the same computer, it could eat up a lot of resources. So I'm going to have to play around with that and see. For a while there, I was using Skype on a secondary computer, and I might have to go back to doing that again. I think maybe that might be the case. But we'll see how that works out. Okay, so now that we have Mr. Gnome here all selected, all we have to do now is go up to Layer, New Layer via Copy, right? We've done this before. And there's our copy of the gnome. And now he has a transparent layer behind him. Now we're going to make a copy of that one. So there's a layer 2. On the first layer, on this bottom layer right here, I want you to rename this. And we're going to rename it black. And that'll make sense to you in just about a minute. Next, if you hit on your command button or your control key, hold that and click on it, you're going to just select the gnome himself. Once you do that, there's two ways you can either do this. One, you can lock the transparent pixels and you can paint over the gnome. Or with that selected, it makes it easier just to go under Edit and Fill Selection. Before you do that, make sure down here in your foreground and your background, it's on the left hand side, make sure it is black over white, black being the foreground color. Edit, and we're going to fill that selection. And we're going to fill it with the foreground color. So let's go ahead and fill that. And if we look now, we did fill it with black. Now, why on earth would you fill that with black, Jack? You're crazy. You're losing it. It doesn't make sense. Because most shadows are black. Now, there's things we can do with that black. We can actually drop the opacity down a little bit. You can make it even more of a shadowy type. Like so. And what we want to do now is we're going to create a new layer. Pull this layer down below that layer. And that layer is going to be our background layer. So now we'll give it a foreground color. And I tried red earlier today. I'm going to try a blue color here. A little lighter blue. There we go. And we could just paint that layer now. Let's go for unselect everything though. Deselect that. That is selected. Okay, now we have our blue. So now we have our blue background. Now what we need to do is click all of our layers on. So here's all of our layers. Now let's go ahead and work at creating that lighting effect that I talked to you about earlier. Everything is set up now for us to introduce some lighting patterns to this actual picture. And why would you use this? You could use it on a portrait. Anytime you want to play around with lighting effects. I have one video a while back that I did. And I put a picture of, I think it was my wife, with her back against the sun, and a lot of people said I should have turned her around because I wasn't really paying attention to the lighting effects of that one, but because the light was coming, it should be coming directly on her, where her face was lit up, but she was facing away from the sun. So that's things you got to worry about when you're doing lighting effects. So this is just a nice way to play around. So on this particular layer right here, if we go under Filter and we go under Render, and then go to Lighting Effects. And if you can see this right here, it looks pretty good. I'm just watching the output there of the cast. I'm going to pull this directly straight across from Mr. Gnome. You can pull it down a little bit if you want, make it more directional. Pull it up a little bit. And all you're doing here when you're moving this thing is you're just changing the beam of light. It's like holding a spotlight, but it's all in the editor. So do it right like that. And there's your lighting effect. But now if you can see on the gnome, you look at that lighting effect and you say, well, that's great, but it's not realistic because there's no shadowing going on. So click on your background layer, and the move tool is selected. Let's move the shadow out. Oh, we clicked on the wrong layer there. Let's click on this layer. Well, we'll move the gnome over then. It wants to select the gnome, so that's fine. Just move your gnome over. Now you can see there you have that perfect shadow effect. Look around the arm over here now. Around the actual, the edge of the welcome sign. Around all of the edges over here on the other side. Around the edges here on the back side, you can see that it's all perfectly shadowed. Now people will tell you, Jack, that's all well and great, but what happens if, let's just say, what happens if we go to filter, render, and we want to change that lighting effect? We're going to flip it. And we're going to paste it this way. There we go. So we flipped it. Actually, we got a dual lighting going on there. So at that part, all you'd have to do is you can actually take your top layer and you can move it the other way. And like I said, if that background, if that shadow is too overbearing, just click on the shadow and drop the opacity a little bit more. You can see there, that even looks like a better shadow right there. So that's a perfect way to do it. So there you go. That's how to create a lighting effect and add a artificial, I like to call it, shadow. Makes it really, really interesting looking. And if you've never played with lighting effects before, I'll go back. Let me Command Z back out of this a little bit. Okay. If you've never played with lighting effects before, I did a video on this a while back, quite a while back. But render, let's go back to lighting effects. And on here, there is, that's called a crossing effect. But this thing is just amazing how much you can do with this. So if you don't have any lights in your studio and you want to play with lighting, don't worry about it, because you can come in here and you can actually play a lot with lighting. A lot of us don't have, let's say, a flashlight, pinpoint light. And we want to pinpoint it maybe directly on the gnome. And you can see that, how nice that is. Just that effect, that little lighting effect, and what it does to that whole entire picture. It's pretty amazing. Like I said, I don't know if anybody ever played with these. I did get an email the other day, and it was a very nice comment and very nice email that said, Jack, the guy was really impressed by being able to show a lot of the little things in Elements that people don't often use or don't often demonstrate, and being able to pick those things out and make Elements even more useful. So, and I enjoy that. And people say, boy, Jack, you must sit around and just play with this every day, all day long and all night. And that's not true. You know, if I get time, just like you guys, if I get time to sit down and play, I sit down and I play with it. But I like looking for things. I like looking for interesting things to do. Here's 5 lights down. These are pretty neat. You can make these wider if you want. You can definitely turn them. Of course, it's not cooperating with me right now, naturally. We can narrow the light down. You got all these different things here. Focus. Get a wider focus. So just, you know, play with everything. And click on that one. Again, another really, really, really nice effect. I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this, and you'll be able to play with this a lot in your photo editing. So hopefully that's going to be something you want to play with and use. Hopefully that's going to be another little gadget in your arsenal. I would hope anyway. So with that said, Bring this back up. So the next thing I want to share with you here is called light painting. I'm actually going to try to do this maybe today to see if I can create some of this. I don't know if the area I want to do it is dark enough, and you're going to see that in just a minute. I think you're going to be amazed if you've never seen light painting and you have a digital SLR camera. I think you're missing out on something very important that you can be doing with that camera. Just like the fireworks, I know a lot of you guys that watch this actually was using a lot of these techniques during the fireworks. We talked last week about setting your camera up in manual mode, setting the shutter speed to very slow shutter speeds, and the pictures I seen on the Facebook group were amazing. They were great firework pictures. So everybody did a good job. Round of applause. All right. I'm glad to see everybody chipped in there and threw some pictures out there. It was very, very nice to see those. Okay, let me get this screen out of the way. And like I said, I think you're going to enjoy this. I often wonder when I was casting, you know, should you do this? Shouldn't you do this? And you guys know I usually talk about a straight hour, 60 minutes. I usually talk through this cast. And the reason we do that, I guess, is in case I ever want to create a audio version just so somebody can download the audio of the cast. You want to make sure there's something going on. But then I started thinking, well, I want to show you guys things that I haven't done, but I'm preparing to do. That's how we got that fireworks video last week. So this week, I'm going to share with you actually a couple little videos that I found. And it is about light painting. And then I'll give the shout out to the creators that made these, because I did not. So we will give them credit and make sure they are well credited for their work to create these videos. So let me see if I can't put this in here. And we're going to bring this up on the cast. Get rid of this text here off of here. And now we're going to bring this up. Okay, and very, very good on that one. There we go, guys. That's a shout out there to these folks. They go by Wise, W-I-S-E-L-E-D, Wise LED. You can see they're shooting these ones in the basement. The first guy we seen, he was shooting all of his pictures outside at night. So that's what I said. I don't know if I'll be able to get my basement dark enough right now or not. So the next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is called it's pronounced differently. Some people pronounce it as Wacom, Wacom. Some people pronounce it as Wacom, Wacom, Wacom. Any way you look at it, it is a basic board or a USB tablet that we use to interact with Photoshop. Now, let me just say first of all that we receive in the studio here, or Jack's Tech Corner receives no commissions or anything from this company at all. They're not an affiliate of ours. But you guys know, if I see a product and I like it, I want to bring it to the table and play with it and show it to you guys what it's about. And what you can do with it, maybe even more than you can with a mouse. Let's face it, here's a mouse. The mouse is a great tool, but all of our lives, we're learned to write with what? Let me pull this out of here. We're learned to write here with a pen type thing or a pencil. This happens to be a stylus, but it's more natural when you're using one of these boards than it is if you're using the mouse. The mouse is not natural. Try writing your name with the mouse on just open up the Paint program or even your open up your Photoshop Elements and open up a new file and grab the pencil tool and try to write your name. It's not going to look too good with the mouse, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. Hey, good morning to you also, Hobby. I just seen you popped in the chat room. From Boise, Idaho. Ted from Idaho. Okay, so we are talking about. You guys can go back through my my DVR recording of this stuff and see the earlier sessions there if you missed that. But today, so far, we talked about creating light effects. If you guys are just coming on board, and we talked about light painting. Light painting. I don't know if you've ever done it. But if you watch, I put a couple videos up today we watched on light painting, and it looks pretty interesting. And now we're talking about the Wacom or the Wacom board, and what can we do with that? So I got the studio set up here. I thought I would set this up and I could demonstrate it for you, because I like to show you what I'm doing more than just telling you, because I learn by viewing things. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to move the keyboard out of the way a little bit. And let me bring back up Photoshop here. There's the picture I'm going to work with. Okay, every time I move the chair, I bump this camera, and you'll see why. I got this camera really, really, really close. So now we're going to knock this off of here, and we're going to switch over some cameras here. Okay. So we need some elements here. And this is why. If you can see this camera right here. This is why it's tight. I keep bumping this camera with my chair because I got the secondary camera over here. See it over on my left side is so tight to my working area right here. So what we have to do first, this is the board. And this board, if you can see here on the bottom, I don't know how well you can see that, but you probably notice it just by looking at it. It's a Graphire 3. Graphire 3. It's a Wacom or Wacom board. It came with the stylus. It goes right in the top here. You can see that. Try to hold that to the camera and see if I can see it there. So it goes right in the top. I actually purchased this one. Believe it or not, I believe I got this off of eBay. These boards can be quite expensive. The ones I see out there now is called the Bamboo series. You guys have seen the Bamboo tablets. And I often think, wow, maybe I should buy a new one. But unless you're some kind of graphic artist, to have a really expensive one of these or brand new, you probably don't need it. You just need something that you can work with and a writing surface. Now, with this one, the weird thing about this that messes a lot of people up, you don't see anything on this board here, on this piece here. Now, you guys can see that. I'm trying to figure out where that camera is. There you go. You don't see anything on here when you're writing. So it is a bit of a hand-eye coordination deal. You have to have some hand and eye coordination. Now, yeah, you guys, okay, Ted, you do have one, and Kevin, you said you got to have one, so that's great. So maybe this is going to work out for us, okay. So, this device, and my wife even, I told you guys with my wife here, she's always like, why don't you just carry a camera in your pocket? That's good enough. So when I buy equipment, and she doesn't say much because especially now that I'm doing these live casts with you guys, I just tell her I need it for the show, and we're out that weekend purchasing it. So that's pretty cool. She's pretty good with that. She wants these shows to be really, really good with you guys. Plus, she witnessed that one in the hotel room a couple weeks ago. She was in the room when I was casting. So, and now she has an idea of what we do together here. But anyway, back to the graphics tablet. This one was used. I think I paid maybe $50 for it. Brand new, it was probably about $2.99 because as you can see, it's a pretty good size one. They have the smaller ones, and Ted, I don't know which one you have, what size you might have there. They have the smaller one also where you would be limited to the center. Not that it wouldn't work, but I like to move around when I'm working on my pictures. So this particular one, like I said, plugs in with USB. There's a USB plug right here. So we are going to plug it in, and then basically it acts like a mouse, really is what it acts as. You know what? I may not even have to take it off. Yeah. I actually, on my computer here, that's just, I don't know how many ports you have on the front of your computer, but I purchased this Mac, and there's a design flaw, Apple never calls anybody and says, hey, can you be a product, what the heck's the name of that? Can you be a product demonstration or a product tester for us? Apple doesn't do that. They just put stuff out, but on these Macs, when they built these desktop Macs, they should have put some USB ports on the front, or at least on the sides so you can get two at one of the sides anyway, but neither here nor there. So anyway, that's why I put the little USB extender there on it, because now I can reach USB ports on the front, so it works out for me. Now I wanted to give you this double view here because we're going to work on a picture using not just, let me rephrase it, as much as possible I'll use the stylus to interact with my picture and show you how it works. So we're going to go ahead and bring up the picture. And now you can see that the stylus there, you can see me on the left hand side. And now I'm going to move my mouse over a little bit so it's out of the way. And if you can see the cursor moving, I'm moving that just by hovering over top of the Wacom board, or Wacom, again, however you may say it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to select these two kids here. So I can just hover over here, then I can just tap, and that picks out my quick selection tool. I'm up here, I'm on the plus already. I just come over, and it makes it more natural because you are drawing with your fingers, with your hand, and you're just drawing. So you just look at what you're looking at, just like so. And all I'm doing here, like I said, it doesn't show up on the board at all. It only shows up on the screen. So you have to look at your monitor. But after a while, it gets to be very easy. It gets to be a hand-eye coordination thing. And a lot of people don't understand that. But even look at now when you sign your name for most credit card bills. The newer ones now are actually showing it to you. But a lot of the first ones, you didn't see what you were signing. You just kind of signed your name. So again, I'm just using this stylus here to select this stuff. So now we are just drawing down through here, selecting the girl. And we're drawing back. So really, I'm just making a selection. The reason it's going a little bit slow here is I got a little bit too much opened up on this computer this morning, and I think I'm killing it. The computer's going, Jack, what are you doing to me? But hey. We want to make sure she's all selected in here. Another thing I found this pen is really good for is if you're doing any airbrush work on your pictures. doesn't like a lot of this white stuff here. Okay. So again, we're just making a selection here. Very simple. Just like you would with the mouse, it's just more fluent with your hand, right? It's just easier because you're writing just like a pen. And like I said, folks, if you have to have one of these, the first place to look at, the first place I want you to look at is go to eBay. If you've never shopped on eBay, the best thing I can tell you is read their ratings. Everybody gets rated. I've been buying and selling on eBay for a long time. Now we'll go up here and we'll just simply hover over the minus. We're going to click on that. And again, I'm just using the pen, so you don't really need the mouse. I do find at times I use the keyboard, but that's only if you want to use a keyboard shortcut. You would use the keyboard. And again, I'm not taking a whole lot of time on this. You guys would definitely take more time when you're doing this. I just find it's a lot easier, especially when you're working like along their pants, to just draw a straight line along their pants. That'll pull in. There you go. Up here. Up here. And you guys know how to make selections. I'm not going to bore you with this too much here. We got a couple other things I want to get to, but I just wanted to show you how this pen works. Or the tablet. So there you have it. You would have your selection made. You would just simply go up, and it acts as a mouse, basically. You would go up and you do layer, new layer via copy like we did before. And there is our layer that we cut out right there. And again, that could be cleaned up now because you can actually clean that up very easily. With the eraser tool. You can just go in here and clean this up. Because it's very, very easy to work with when you're drawing with a pen. And I'll be honest, I don't use it every day with every single edit. But if I'm doing stuff involved, if after I'm done shooting a wedding or something, I come home and maybe I want to do a lot of cleaning up or something, I would use this. I just cut his foot off. That's alright. There you go. Okay. Close that out. So there you have it. So that's how you interact with it. You see me down here interacting with the pen. And you're interacting on the screen itself right there. So moving the cursor around just by simply hovering over. Yes, the stylus does have a button on it. Yeah, you asked that. So if you go up here, you can actually click on the button. That's just like a right click of the mouse. If I move the mouse over and I right click, you can see it gets the same thing. So it does. So if I move the mouse over here, I can actually right click on top of my brushes, right, and pick my brush out. So yes, it does have a button. I'll try to show it to you here. Let me bring up just that camera again. And we'll see if you can see this. Right there's the button. And when you push up on it, when you push up on it like this, that is the right click. So that was a very good question. Good question, Kevin. I appreciate that. Okay, and Brian is saying his bamboo is fun. And, it's probably even more, the bamboo, from what I understand from these older ones, is even more pressure sensitive. So when you're working, especially when you're working with colors, pressure comes in because the more pressure you give could be the darker the color. So there's a lot more to this board than what I just showed you. So I would suggest if you get one, read through the manual. I know I don't, a lot of tech people say don't read the manual, but in this case, see what it'll do for you because it'll do a lot. It'll control a lot. There's some tablets that actually have buttons on that will control a lot of your Photoshop elements work for you. So there you have that part of it, and I hope that was interesting enough to you. Now, let me bring this camera back up. Let me see where we're at here. We are going to talk about this. Okay, folks, there is a something new. It was released, I think it was this week. It might have even been the beginning of last week, or at the end of last week, or sometime. But this week is when I got involved with it, and I wanted you to know about it. It's not all about photography at this point, except for the contest is coming up. And we do have the contest coming up, and I got some important news to tell you with that. But what I wanted to show you here was, and you may have heard about this, it is actually called Google Plus. And my wife this morning said, "Holy cow, what is that? What's Google Plus? Why would you need something like that?" To be quite honest with you, what it actually is, it is a, I'm just setting this up here. Let me just grab this region here. And let's pull this over. And the reason I'm bringing this up here is because I want to see if some of you folks out there want to join me on Google's Plus. Google's Plus is invite only. This is actually Google's Plus right here, or Google Plus. Google Plus, for lack of a better word or a better explanation, is working at trying to be a Facebook killer. Now, we're all on Facebook. We have a great Facebook group, and I know we enjoy that, communicating with each other. So Google Plus is actually trying to be a Facebook killer. That's why I wanted to show this to you guys. I have 8, or it says invite people. I don't really know how many I have. I thought that was 8, but I guess that's G+. I'm allowed to invite people to come into Google Plus. It's very private right now, and it's very limited amount of people being allowed in. What I want you to do, if you would like to me to send your request, send me your email address and send it to jackstechcorner@gmail.com. I'm mainly putting it out there for you guys. Now, eventually, this is going out to YouTube, so people later down the road will see it. But if I use up all my invites with my live streamer folks, all my my buddies and the friends joining here each and every Sunday, then I'll use them up here. That's fine. That's my goal, is to use them up. So, but like I said, if not, and this hits YouTube, you're more than welcome to email me and see if I have any more invites left. So, I wanted to do that mainly because it's like, wow, it's something I'm giving you back for watching the live show, so that's fun. The Roku box, ROKU. It can be found at ROKU.com. I just received my Roku box. I've been looking at this thing for about a year or so, and I decided that now was the time to actually buy it. And what's better yet, folks, is I'm working at putting Jack's Tech Corner on Roku. So I'll actually have a channel on Roku, so that would be really, really cool. Then you sit down and watch any of these videos on your TV and work with them on the computer. So that's going to be really neat. And you are right. They are now HDMI. That's a big push. HDMI, wireless networking to it, or wired. They start at $59. And I signed up to be an affiliate with this company. But I am not at this point. Again, it's a product that I've purchased, and I think it's really cool. I'm still learning it, actually. I'm just trying to bring up their listing of their boxes here. This is the Roku lineup right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let me try to make this maybe a tighter region so we can see more of this. Let's bring this in here a little tighter. But what it allows you to do, you stream your video content through the internet. Right now, there's one thing I can tell you not to buy. I don't know if you remember them or not, but do not buy Hulu Plus. I bought it right away yesterday thinking that would be the end all. That's what I needed, Hulu Plus on a set-top box. And Hulu Plus is not allowed for some reason by CBS to stream almost 80% of the content that I use TV for. So that stinks. So I'm not paying them $8 a month to have to watch all this stuff on the computer, because I can watch it on the computer through Hulu for free anyway. So do not buy Hulu Plus at this time until I tell you differently. It looks like right now the $59.99 one is out of stock. I can see that down here on their listing. But they're offering free shipping right now, so now's probably a great time to buy. $79.99 is still available, and then the $99.99 one. So okay, it's been a subscriber for 32 years. I'm just looking at the chat room there, Dan. And what was you talking about? Just bringing this chat window up here. It's been a subscriber. Who's been a subscriber for 32 years? Oh, 2 years. No, 2 years. 2 years subscriber to what, Dan? If you want to throw that back up in the chat window, love to hear that. And go ahead and... Okay, folks, so thanks once again for joining me here this Sunday for Jack's Tech Corner. This has been Photoshop Elements Weekly. Can you believe it? Episode number 15. 15 episodes you guys have been around here with me watching each week, and we've been learning things together. So, oh, with Netflix. Yes, I've also been a member of Netflix for about 2 years. A wonderful program. Netflix is a really good program. Okay, but hey, like I said, thank you very much for joining me. I'm very humbled that you pop in here each and every week, and I think I think we have a good time and we learn a lot with each other. If you ever have a great idea and you want to co-host, I'm always looking for somebody to throw a tutorial out there with me. If you'd like to co-host, please drop me an email at jackstechcorner@gmail.com. And we will set you up a Skype. You've seen Kevin do it there, probably on show number, I don't know, Kevin helped me out show number 1 or 2 maybe, or even it might have been show number 3, where he did a tutorial, and I Skyped him in, and he was able to see his desktop. It's really cool to do that. So I'd be happy, very, very happy to have you on there, by all means. So until next week, as always, I don't have my camera sitting here. Keep the shutters clicking. Keep your editors editing. And now, maybe you better. And what did I say on the video I was working on yesterday? Do you Roku? Maybe grab a Roku box and keep watching for Jack's Tech Corner on the Roku. That's my next big push. So thanks, folks, and I'll see you back here next Sunday on Jack's Tech Corner. Bye for now.